Good morning. Good morning. We're just going live for day 2 of the free 5-day sales and marketing audit, real estate sales and marketing audit. Today, we're going to zoom in on marketing and we'll just wait a minute or so here to let people kind of join in. And then we're going to dive into the topic of today, which is talking about marketing and how we handle marketing, how we encourage you to handle marketing at REI SIFT. All right. Hey there. If I can just get a comment in there, let me know you can hear me and see me okay. And then we'll go ahead and dig in and get started for the free, um, free 5-day real estate sales and marketing audit. Today we're zooming in on marketing. Let me go ahead and share. So you should be able to see my slideshow there, be able to see me. You can comment in and let me know you can see it, or give me a thumbs up, and we'll get moving here. All right, I'm going to assume that we can hear us, and let's go ahead and get started. We're going to try to be live for about an hour today. So, we're doing the 5-day real estate sales and marketing audit. Yesterday, we audited our business and the 4 key components of our business: marketing, sales and lead management, operations, and KPIs, and kind of scored where our business is in those components. And then for the next 4 days, we will be going over one of them. Um, we're not trying to tease you with any info here. I'm going to impart an hour. You will not have your entire marketing operation set up at the end of this hour, but you will have an idea of what you need to do and the resources and how REI SIFT can help provide that for you. So we go live, like I said, every day this week for an hour at 10 a.m. Central Time. If you have any questions, please type into the chat and ask any questions you have. I will say that because I'm streaming from home today, I only have one screen, so it might take me a minute to flip back and forth and see those comments, but I'm going to be actively doing that. And actually, we'll talk about that in a second. But you're gonna want a notepad or a note taker, or open up something on your iPad or your PC or whatever you're using and take down notes. Especially with the marketing, if these concepts are newer to you, talking about sequential marketing in particular, take notes, take screenshots, whatever you need to, so that you have that information when you go to get using that in your business after today's call. Also, it's really helpful when you comment, answer questions, ask questions, because I can't see your beautiful faces like in a traditional Zoom meeting. So me seeing your comments and interactions lets me know, if you're understanding it, if you have any questions. It just lets me have a little bit of interaction with you. And so I really look forward to seeing you guys commenting in. All right. So like I said yesterday, we conducted that comprehensive audit, and then today we're going to discuss marketing. So because we audited those 4 components, today we'll talk about marketing, tomorrow sales and lead management, Thursday operations, Friday KPIs. And so that's where our 5 days come from. If for some reason you missed the audit yesterday, you can go to this website right here, reisif.io/ 5-day audit challenge. There's dashes in between there. And you can put in your email address and you'll get emailed we have a workbook for the 5-day audit, where you can actually break down each of those areas and see where you might have any gaps, holes, things you need to plug in and fix. And then you can watch the recording on our YouTube channel or in our Facebook community, to see me going over that audit. So this information is going to help you whether or not you're an REI SIFT customer. Now, when I show things in REI SIFT, I will show it, or when I show things about marketing, I will show kind of our capabilities in REI SIFT. So of course, we want you to be a user. I do have a code that I'll share at the end. If you sign up while we're in the challenge, you can use a code to get some credits in REI SIFT. And then also at the very end, if you stick around till then, I do have an offer that's available to anybody new or existing user. All right, so I'm Jessica. I am a wife and a mom. I work at REI SIFT Actually, now I am the customer success lead at REI Sift. And I was a teacher for 7 years. And what that really has enabled me to do is break down big concepts, big ideas into actionable steps. So even like our workbook, which I really feel like is an awesome resource, um, Tyler had the idea to do that, and kind of my role is to break that down and to interpret that, and also the big ideas and concepts he comes with, break them into actionable steps. Like, what do you need to do in your account to move forward in your business? All right. So at REI Sift, we're a sales and marketing CRM. We believe in strong education, which is why we do like this free audit. And we are a community of like-minded business owners. We create sales and marketing ninjas. Real quick, I just want to mention that we do have an affiliate link, affiliate program, and our affiliate program is really awesome. You earn 20% commission if you refer somebody to REI Sift. That's not just one time, that's recurring, meaning as long as they are a paying user, you earn that 20% commission every month. And so the audit is a really good way to get people in the door. If you're in other communities, other real estate communities, and you want to share Sift, give them the link to the free 5-day audit, and you don't get commission when they sign up for the audit because it's free, but if they convert to a user, you will earn commission. And so to do that, you go to the affiliates tab in your account. I can show that later, and you'll select the link for the 5-day audit, and you share that in any communities that you have. All right, so let's dig into what we're talking about today, and that is marketing. All right, so we may have uncovered when we were auditing this yesterday, we may have uncovered some issues in our marketing or some things that we weren't taking into consideration. And I really feel like most of the problems in our business come down to like the same three things. We don't have the insight to know how to like untangle that web and have a plan in our account or in our marketing, and we have a lack of clarity, so we don't know, what have we already skip traced. Sometimes if we're working, for example, even out of Excel spreadsheets, you don't know what's been skip traced, you don't know what you've marketed to previously, you get a new list, you don't know what of those properties you have on another list somewhere else, right? So you don't have clarity, you don't have insight, you don't know what's the next step. And so that comes into processes, right? Having a process for how do I acquire data? How do I upload it? How do I skip trace it? How do I check if I've marketed to it before? Am I tracking all of that? Do I have a plan when I finish cold calling, that I have a plan for the people that I don't reach cold calling, right? So you have processes in place. And so that is what we're going to talk about today, is how to have that insight, that clarity, and those processes in your business. All right, Trustpilot, if you have time, if you find any value in today's challenge or in our software, we really appreciate Trustpilot reviews. So we'd love for you to go to trustpilot.com/review/reisift.io and leave us a Trustpilot review. It really does make a big difference for us. All right. So before we talk about the type of marketing that we really recommend and that you should be doing in your business, we'll talk about what we see a lot of, like with other people, what they recommend, right? If you pull up a YouTube video sometimes, or you go to some event, some of the things that we like to call the lucky investor tactic. So some of the first things people are doing, right? So you buy some data. Great, no problem, right? You got to have some data. I put it down here that it's $99 for 10,000 records. That's like if you're using PropStream, right? So you buy some data. Great. You're going to skip trace it. Maybe it costs about $1,500 to skip trace those records. And I'm going to do this from a cold calling perspective, but it could really be any strategy you have, whether you're cold calling or texting or what you're doing. So I'm going to send it to a bulk dialer, and I am doing low estimates on these, right? So $99 for a single seat on like call tools or in a bulk dialer, maybe more than that, depending on which one you're using and how many seats you have and all of that. But I'm kind of doing some basic, entry level numbers here. So you're going to dial through all those, you're going to skip trace them, you dial through all of those numbers, and then you're going to trash them and you're going to start that process over. Hopefully, if you're an REI Sift user, you're not doing this, right? You're going to be dialing through multiple times. You're going to have a plan in place. But this is some of the things that we see. Buy 10,000 records, call them all. Somebody's going to want to sell their house. And then next month, you're going to do it again, right? And so what we're hoping to generate out of that bulk dial before we throw them away and then get new data the next month would be to generate some leads. So let's say that if I dial through 10,000 records one time, for example, maybe I get 50 leads, 50 people who indicate they're interested in selling their house, and we'll just do despite timeline. And because I'm saying this is in 1 month, we would be lucky in 1 month to get one of those leads under contract and closed, right? So let's just say that it closed. We got a deal that first month and it closed, right? So if that deal closed for, I did wholesaling, I got a $12,000 assignment fee. If I add up the cost here, right, 99 plus 1,500 plus 99, it's approximately $1,700. Most of us think like, okay, that sounds good, right? Like if I can spend $1,700 a month and make $12,000 a month, that's a profit of $10,000, a little over. That sounds good to me. If I could repeat that every month, how many people would be like if I told you you can spend $1,700 a month every month and make $12,000? I mean, I'd sign up, right? You know, so the question though is, are we being lucky or are we being smart? And are we getting the most out of this process? Are there any issues here that we're missing, right? Is there anything in here that we're not doing? So let's talk about some of the issues that we see in this strategy, some of the problems. So when you skip trace records, I'm just going to give some numbers here, so bear with me. Remember, I'm a former math teacher. Ask me any questions if it doesn't make sense. So if I skip trace 10,000 records, we see that on average, we get results back for 90% of the records we skip trace. So that would be 9,000 records returned with at least one number, with some numbers on them. It could be one, it could be more, right? There's 1,000 that maybe approximately you don't get results for. Now, on average, we see 3 numbers per record. Now, that could be, you could get one record that has 10 and one record that has one number, right? But on average, we see about 3. So if I get 9,000 records back that actually I got results for, and I had about 3 numbers per record, that's 27 numbers that I dialed through. So when I actually dialed right here, I dialed 27,000 numbers if I'm doing my cold calling strategy, right? So I dialed through 27,000 numbers right here. Okay. So let's go back. The bulk dialer we see on average with one round of calling, the first round, we usually get 2.5% correct numbers. So if I multiply that 27,000 numbers times 2.5% as a decimal, that means in that dial through that first round of dialing, so if I go back, right here, I dialed those 27,000 numbers, I actually got 675 correct numbers, but only 50 of them said they were interested in selling. And that number makes sense because what we see is there's on average, a good correct number to lead ratio could be about 7.5%. And so we would see about 50 leads. It could generate about 50 leads. So 675 correct numbers and I get 50 leads. So this is just the numbers of where I came up with this, right? So I got about 27,000 numbers. I dialed through them one time. I got 675 correct numbers and 50 of them approximately said, yeah, I'd like to sell my property. And in this scenario, we got one contract that month out of those 50 leads. Some people are seeing closer to a 75 to 1 contract lead to contract ratio. And really, you may have to sustain this for 2 months before you actually close on a deal, right? Real estate isn't usually something, it does happen. There are people who get a deal closed in the same month. They get it under contract, they call it, they get it under contract right away, they close in a month. It does happen. But in general, we may have to sustain this for a couple months. So you might end up spending, around $4,000 before you actually close, and there's still the chance that you don't close, right? So this strategy looks wonderful on the surface level, but there are some things that we have to take into consideration, right? Are we going to close it quickly enough? Are we going to get it under contract quickly enough and close it? Or am I going to sustain this process for a little longer? Not to mention, we said we got 675 correct numbers and only 50 of them were leads. So I called through here, I did all this work, I spent all this money to get 675 correct numbers. Only 50 of them said they were lead, and then I trashed the data. What? We are really in the business of getting correct numbers to homeowners, right? And if you're not keeping track of that, you definitely should be, because what we know is that in the market, there is a certain amount of turnover every 3 or so years. And so if I get a correct number to a homeowner today and unless they say DNC, then I don't want to call them anymore. If they, very politely say, don't ever call me, please, then I don't want to call them anymore if they say that. But if they say not interested, no, I don't want to sell my house, I'm not interested, I should still be tracking that, because in the time that their circumstances change, in a year from now, 2 years from now, I want to be the person that they think of to sell that property to, right? So we're really in a correct numbers game, and everything that you get a correct number for, unless it's DNC, should have its own follow up, right? So if I got 675 correct numbers and I only kept up with 50 of them because they were leads, right? Only 50 of them because they were leads, that's 625 correct numbers, 625 missed opportunities, except for maybe some of them said, not don't ever call me again. Sweetly, I'm sure. Okay. Other things, are we keeping up with the wrong numbers, the DNCs, so I don't call them next time I pull a list, the no answers, so I know to try to call them again, dead numbers, so I don't call them, waste time trying to call them again. How many people did I actually reach? Did I do anything with my not interested? We talked about that a little bit. And is it scalable? So let's go back. If it took me a month to dial through 10,000 records, and then I recycle back to the beginning and I'm going to buy another 10,000 records, how long is that really sustainable in my market? Let's say that I live in a city that has, 150,000 properties and that's where I'm marketing. I'm only going to be able to do this for a certain amount of time, right? Approximately 15 months. And we really want a business that's going to last many years, right? So is it sustainable? You should always have a plan for this. And really, once you dial through your market and you get as many correct numbers as possible, you can actually spend time just marketing to your correct numbers, just following up with your leads and you're not interested once you have, a good base of correct numbers in your market. And that should be the goal, right? So we should be retaining all of this data. Data is truth. It is it doesn't lie, right? And you do not want to lose that insight, the money that you paid to get those correct numbers. We're not going to throw that away, right? We're going to retain that insight. So that's the problems that I see with this strategy. I'm checking to see if we have any questions or comments. I don't see any. Please feel free to comment in if you have any questions or anything like that. So let's talk about, if that's not scalable, if that doesn't make sense, what do we recommend at REI Sift? We recommend the smart investor tactic, which we call sequential marketing, right? So sequential marketing uses several steps to keep in touch, or in the case of, outreach, you're trying to reach the known homeowner in a planned and sequenced manner over a measured period of time. Regular contact or attempt to reach is the key. So this is like the general sequential marketing. When we're applying it to real estate investment, the things that really stick out to me are several steps, planned and sequenced over a measured period of time, right? So I have a plan. And we're going to talk about, there's two types of sequential marketing. There's bulk, where you're using like a bulk dialer or an SMS platform. And then there's niche sequential, which we'll dig into in a minute. But either way, you have a plan of what I do first. I'm going to cold call 5 times, then I'm going to send 3 SMS, then I'm going to do direct mail, or I'm going to do 5 niche sequential attempts, and then I'm going to do direct mail, and then I'm going to do deep prospecting, which is when you really dig in, right? You didn't get any response from direct mail, or you got return mail, and now you're looking them up on Facebook and you're calling their grandma and you're saying, like, hey, have you heard from Johnny? I want to talk to him about that property. You're doing a deep dive. You're messaging them on Facebook. That's deep prospecting, in case you didn't know. Okay. So, like I said, out of those, when we 9,000 records, we skip trace them, we got 27,000 numbers. But what we know out of those 9,000 records is that half of them have at least one correct number on the record usually. So out of those 27,000 numbers, 4,500 of them are probably a correct number to one of these 9,000 records. And we've only got 675 correct numbers so far. So we want to know how do I find the rest of these correct numbers? I'm going to try again, right? I'm going to try another attempt at whatever marketing strategy I was using, or I'm going to move them into another type of marketing strategy. So here's the two types of sequential marketing. So we're going to go over the definitions first, and then I'm going to kind of show a flow chart of what they look like. And then I'll kind of show what it looks like in REI Sift as well. Okay, so niche sequential marketing focuses on systematically targeting a smaller number of prospects as quickly as possible using many marketing methods simultaneously. So we are now mostly trying to call this niche sequential. We used to call it the sensei flow. So if you've ever heard us talking about the sensei flow, people were usually referring to niche sequential. But what that led to sometimes is people thinking that we only like advocate for niche sequential marketing. And we think that you can do it correctly with bulk or niche. And so we're going to call both like kind of the sensei flows. We have two flows, one being niche sequential, one being bulk sequential, like two ways of doing it that all fall under like that sensei flows branch. But traditionally, like the last couple years, if you've heard people talking about the sensei flow, they were usually talking about niche sequential marketing. So this means like a smaller number of prospects. Bulk is going to be a large group of prospects using one marketing method at a time. We'll talk about like when you use both of these, but in general, niche is usually when you're trying to be what we call first to market. So maybe you focus on pre-foreclosure data and you pull that every so often from the county, and you want to be the first person to meet that pre-foreclosure, to contact those new pre-foreclosures. You might use sequential marketing, because when you use niche sequential marketing, you're going to be doing it like a more manual click to call, click to text, leave a voicemail manually instead of sending it into the bulk dialer. We're usually using air call or smartphone for this. And so you're manually, like, you pull up the record, I'll show it in a few minutes, you dial each number, you leave a text, you send a text if they're mobile, you leave a voicemail if the voicemail picks up. And the reason that takes more time because it's manual, but you may reach the appropriate homeowner quicker, because if texting is the best way to do it, you might do it sooner. Whereas with bulk sequential, usually it's a larger list of prospects. You send it into the bulk dialer, and you're going to do 5 cold call attempts before you ever get to the SMS attempts. They are both great ways of marketing. One takes more time, niche sequential, and one is a little more expensive, bulk sequential, right? So you kind of do a balance there of, when you're starting out, which one makes more sense for you? Do you have more time? Maybe niche sequential makes more sense to you. Or do you have more money? Maybe bulk sequential makes sense for you. Many people start out with niche. Eventually, many people are doing both kind of simultaneously. Maybe they, have a base data list that they're sending into the bulk dialer, trying to get as many correct numbers as possible. And then they have 2 or 3 niches that they focus on, and they do niche sequential marketing. So both of them are great methods. Any questions so far? All right, let's kind of look at what it would look like, kind of an overview, like in a chart form. Okay, so what happens? You skip trace the records. We call that ready to market. So I have numbers. So it's ready to market. On attempt 1, and I'll show this in SIFT in a minute, you're going to pull up the number. You're going to use air call or smartphone. You're going to call, or whatever, you could use your cell phone if you want to. But air call and smartphone integrate with REI Sift, so that you can do it, you can click it from REI Sift, and then it also logs everything to the activity log. So you can see like any conversations, you'll have a link to it. You can see when you called, when you texted, all those things in the activity log with air call and smartphone. So you're going to call. If the voicemail picks up, leave a voicemail and send a text to follow up if they don't answer and it's a mobile number. And you do that for, each record that you're doing niche sequential on. Then in the next day, or, some people they'll do like 50 first attempts, and then the next day they do some follow-up attempts. Next day they do some follow-up attempts. When you're doing this, there will be fewer records as you go down the pyramid here, because Only records that you have not made contact with continue through the funnel. If on attempt one, the correct homeowner picks up, then I move them out of my niche sequential phone funnel, because if the correct homeowner picks up, if I get a correct number, one of three things is going to happen. They're going to say, yes, I'm interested. Then I put them into lead management. They'd say, no, I'm not interested. I'd put them into a not interested follow up. Or they say, F off and don't call me again. And I'd put them into a DNC follow, do not call them. And so only the people that I don't get a correct number for continue through the funnel. Also, if I mark a number as wrong on attempt one or dead on attempt one, or DNC wrong on attempt one, then when I go to do attempt two, there will be fewer numbers on that record because I've indicated, we have something called phone status, as I've indicated that it's a wrong number. Let me just show you a little bit of what that can look like in SIFT. I'm going to share a different tab. If you give me just a second here. All right, share, stop screen share. And we're going to share the screen again. And I'm going to share my REI SIFT. All right. So I believe you can see my REI SIFT dashboard. All right. So what that would look like in REI SIFT, when I'm doing my niche sequential marketing, I usually do it from inside REI SIFT, and I have filter presets, and you would skip trace it first. And so I have a prep folder where I can see things that I've never been skip traced, just for example, right? And so I could skip trace it, and we can kind of show what that looks like. I'll just do like 3 records. You can choose how many you want to skip trace. I'll just do like 3. And I would send them to skip tracing. And you can either skip trace within REI Sift, or you can download them and skip trace them somewhere else. Oh, how did I do that? Um, you can download them and skip trace them somewhere else. I'm going to tag it so I know I skip trace with REI Sift. And the ones that I don't get numbers for, I have a plan for that too. And if you really want to see that, check out the Data to Dollars challenge where I talk about like how to send those to direct mail and that kind of stuff, right? If I do get numbers, it's going to move into my ready to market. So I would come here to my ready market. I'll just show attempt one so that you can see it. And then I can also, I assign mine. So mine are going to be in staged for initial. Okay, so here's one that I can kind of show. That's weird. I guess I've done all my Sensei Flow attempts. So let's just see real quick. So I'll just show it like this. So when I come in for my first one, right, I'm going to have some records that are ready for a Sensei Flow attempt. Now, when I go to do my first attempt, these are where we keep phone statuses. So it would look like this. I've skip traced this record. I got numbers back. I'm ready to do a Sensei Flow attempt on this. And I would come to the record. You'll have a list of all the ones that are ready for Sensei Flow attempt. I've done my first attempt on all of them, so I didn't have anything in that folder. But I would have a folder with all my initial attempts ready, and I would come to the record and I would click, you know, the number. So I'm integrated with smart dial or smartphone. So I would click call, I would dial the number. If they don't pick up, then I can indicate, no answer. I can indicate if it's a correct number, wrong number, no answer. If it's DNC, I can click correct number DNC or wrong number DNC. And this is important because if it's correct number DNC, that means I have a correct number and I'd want to DNC this property owner as well. So I don't call this person anymore, right? Or this property anymore. Goes out of my marketing. If it's wrong number DNC, then I just don't call this number again because it's not for the property owner. And so I go through here. If it's mobile, I would call it. If the voicemail picks up, I leave a voicemail. And then I can also send a text message by clicking here. And you can do it that way, right? So I can do all my marketing from right within here. And right. So I can do my marketing from within here, and I'm indicating my phone numbers, right? So then I can come down here and I can use tags to track. So for example, I can say that I've done Sensei Flow attempt 2 or whatever attempt I'm on, and I'd be able to click next record to see these through here. And so I'm keeping up with my marketing attempts either through tags, or you can also keep up. We have attempts here. So if I wanted to use this to track my attempts, I can track it there as well. So with Sensei Flow, it's a more one-on-one. I'm manually dialing through these numbers, sending a text. When I do that, it also would track it in my activity log because I didn't actually click dial. You don't see it here. But you would see, every time I update a phone status, every time I send a call, a text message, everything we do is tracked on the activity log. Okay. So as that goes on, I can continue seeing it through the process, right? And so let's go here. Right? And so like once I'm doing that, I'd make the attempt on this one, click next record, make the attempt on this one. Now, it does take more time. That's what I was indicating as in the beginning, but we really promote niche sequential marketing because you can reach that property owner quicker than maybe with a bulk process if you're focusing on a very specific niche, because I call this number and then I follow it up with a text almost immediately. Whereas if I do bulk, which we'll talk about in a second, if texting is the best way to reach Carolyn, I might do 5 cold calling attempts before I ever send the first text message. And so it's just a different flow, and you both are very good though. All right, let me stop sharing and I'm going to share this one again. So that's a little bit about niche. Let's look at bulk. Oh, here's a little bit about niche. Some people, first to market's what's up. I really liked this one. It was about a month or two ago, where Josh said like he had been doing bulk for a long time, and then he dialed in and focused really on niche and saw, results very quickly with niche. And so if you want to look, if you've never done niche sequential before, or you want to know more about Sensei Flow, search niche sequential or Sensei Flow or first to market in our Facebook community, and you will see tons of feedback about, how it's affected people. All right, bulk sequential is a little different. So I would call, and I'm going to do a certain number of attempts calling. So, and you're not going to do this within REI Sift usually. You would send them. So if you're using an integration that we have like Call Tools, you would send them to Call Tools, select the records, you send them to Call Tools, and you're going to dial through them in Call Tools. It would update REI Sift with those phone statuses and property statuses that I was just showing. And so if it becomes a lead, it would trigger it back to REI Sift and let you know you have a new lead. Or if you get a correct number, it sends that information back to REI Sift. And then the next day, or once you're done dialing through, you would send them for another attempt in Call Tools. And so you're going to continue that, for maybe 5 attempts in Call Tools, as long as that takes. And then anybody you don't reach, so again, as you're going down the funnel, it only goes to the next call attempt or moves into SMS if you don't make contact with the property owner. Because if you get a correct number, it moves into the other process. It becomes a lead management now, or becomes not interested follow up, or becomes DNC, don't ever try to call them again, right? So maybe we do 5 calling attempts, and then anybody we don't reach, we move them into a SMS campaign. And now we're going to send them to Smarter Contact or Launch Control. We're going to be integrated with Launch Control soon. If you have somebody that you're using for one of these and we're not integrated with them, you can always download and then send them into that service. And then you can use Zapier to send back those property statuses if we're not directly integrated. But I'll show what we're integrated with here in a second. And then one thing that some people do, if they have a big group of records, they might do like a bulk cold calling or bulk SMS to get as many correct numbers as possible. And then the ones they don't reach, then they might put those into a niche sequential. So that's another way people use niche sequential. Then they're going to put a more manual aspect on it because they didn't get the correct numbers in those first 2 processes. And then maybe direct mail. Now, this is just an example of a flow, and I'll show kind of what bulk sequential can look like in REI Sift as well. But before I do, I just want to talk about when do we use both. So here's just some example. Lead management is always niche sequential. That's always going to be more manual. You're going to physically call or text the lead that you're following up with. Same thing with not interested follow up. So I could put in not interested here. um, Big data, so you have a lot of data that you're trying to sort through and get as many correct numbers as possible. That would be bulk dial. If you've fallen behind and you need to catch up a little bit, bulk sequential. First to market is going to be niche sequential. Maybe base data, you have a large base data list that you want to get as many correct numbers for. That could be bulk sequential. Also, a bulk campaign is complete. That could be niche sequential. So these blanks are here. If you take a screenshot, you can fill in some other ideas of when you use bulk, when you use niche. Right, so data prep, you're going to acquire the data, you upload it into REI Sift, you skip trace it, and then it's ready to market. I showed that just a little bit. Then you're going to choose, we have filter presets. I'll show this again in a second. I kind of showed the niche ones. We have ready to market, and then we can track. And this can also be split up. So I have it split up by cycles now, but you can also split it up by niche. So I could have one folder for pre-foreclosure, ready to market, and then track 3 attempts. Then I could have another folder for tax delinquent or probate, ready to market probate, and then my first 3 attempts on probate. So you divide this up into folders so that you can see that through the process. And then bulk sequential, similar, but cycle 1 would be like cold calling, for example. After I prepped it, after I skip traced it, if I want to do bulk, it could move into my cold calling campaign. I do 5 attempts. Then this could be my SMS campaign. I do 5 attempts. And so you create a flow for this to go through. All right, we're going to be updating phone statuses and property statuses in REI Sift. So let me show bulk real quick before we keep going here. I have to, because I didn't share my whole screen. I got to switch tabs 1 second. All right, so let's show that bulk process just a little bit. So again, on that records page, if I open up my folder, my filter preset, so these are those folders that I've saved, when I'm prepping data. And then for like my SMS and my cold calling, I might have, a cold calling folder or an SMS folder. And I have those that are ready to market here. And so like right now, I only have one that skip traced. If I skip trace some more, it would appear here, but because I only skip traced those 3 records, I have this one here. And so I would select that, and then I can click send to, and let's say I want to do cold calling first, I can click send to, and we're going to click integrations. And we have call tools 1 and 2, ready mode, smarter contact, and smart dialer will be coming soon. And those are available as like direct bulk integrations. And so for example, I could click call tools, and I don't have it set up because I don't have an integration with a bulk dialer set up right now. But you would select through here and select what numbers you want to send and all that information, and you send it to the dialer. Now, then you would go in and you would dial through all those records. Right now, I just sent one, but generally you would have, 3,000 or 1,000 that you're sending into the dialer. And I would dial through all of those in call tools and have somebody in there working them. And the integration would send back. So the phone statuses and property statuses. So with Sensei Flow or Niche Sequential, I had to manually say like, okay, that's a correct number. That's a wrong number. That's a dead number, right? And then if I got a correct number, this is where property status lives. I would have to manually say, oh, it's a new lead, or it's a not interested, or whatever the case is. With bulk sequential, it's a little different. I would send these to the dialer. I would select them and say, I can click manage, updated. Oh, hold on. Click manage, update attempts. And I can, if I had 30 records here or 1,000 records or 3,000, I can update the attempts and say, okay, I sent them for attempt 1 in call tools. And I update the records because we want to track it. We want to know that we sent them for a call attempt and call tools so that I don't lose the insight in the data, right? I want to always know how many attempts have I done so I can always filter by that information later and know, okay, these records have had call attempts but not SMS attempts, right? So then once call tools processes through all of them, if I get any correct numbers or leads or not interested, that information can get sent back to Sift from call tools, and it will update the property status and the phone status is kind of automatically. Okay, that's a little bit of what bulk looks like. If you have any questions, please, type them in. So those are like our two, the two types of sequential marketing that we should be doing and that we recommend that everybody's doing. Some people like niche, some people like bulk, some people are doing a little bit of both. We have people that only do like niche sequential on one vexation, one tax delinquent. They pull it as soon as it comes out with the county, and they're only calling those new tax delinquent each week or each day. Then we have people that are also really successful with bulk dialing, and maybe they do niche and bulk. So everybody has a different strategy, and they're both good as long as you are keeping up with that insight, tracking your attempts, adding your tags, um, and having that insight in your data to move it through a process and not lose the clarity and not just trash it after you dial through one time, right? So you're always maintaining insight and clarity in your data. All right, let me finish our little slides. Right, so phone statuses are wrong number, DNC, and dead. If it is a lead or not interested, you would update both because that means you got a correct number. So if it's a DNC correct or lead or not interested, you got a correct number. So you would update the phone status to show, hey, I got a correct number. Now, if it's sold, lead, or not interested, you would update the property status as well so that you can move your leads into a lead follow-up. You can move your not interested into a not interested follow-up. So once we have been using those tags and these attempts that I was showing you, we can always tell what's been marketed to and what strategies have been used by using a combination of filters. So we have filters in REI Sift where I can filter by, okay, I want all the records that have had 5 call attempts and 3 SMS attempts, but no direct mail attempts. So I know that those are maybe good records to send to direct mail. We also recommend tagging your records. Some people like to use tags for niche sequential instead of call attempts. So they would put like niche sequential attempt 1 or Sensei Flow attempt 1. The 4 W's of data management. So knowing where data's been, where it's going, when it happened. So tagging, dates and like, I sent it to call tools on this date. I sent it for skip tracing on this date with this provider. I bought it on this date from this place. So having all that insight and tagging it so you know. And then you can also do bulk tags instead of attempts if you want. And skip tracing, you should always tag. All right, so the important thing is I gave some examples here. So like an example would be to do cold calling, then SMS, then niche sequential, then direct mail. But you can think about this like a conveyor belt, and you can rearrange these conveyor belts however you want. Some people only do niche sequential. The ones they don't get in contact with, they do direct mail. And if they still don't get in contact or they get return mail, they do deep prospecting. Some people do this entire flow. Some people only do SMS and then niche, right? So you can rearrange these conveyor belts as what makes sense for your business. And you don't have to have all these conveyor belts lined up on day one. If you only are doing niche sequential, great. But make sure that you're tracking all of that information so that you have the business intelligence that later, if you want to add in a different conveyor belt, you have the ability to filter and know what's been done to this data and these records so that you can add in those other strategies later if you choose to. So it's really about having the business intelligence to make those decisions and know what records have been through these processes. That's what this is saying, right? You may not have the money or the business to do everything. Most people, especially when starting out, don't have the money to, have everything, all these conveyor belts, right? Spend the money for cold calling, SMS, niche, direct mail. But some people just start with niche because it is maybe the most affordable strategy and they can't do direct mail yet. But you're retaining the information so that you know what records have had niche sequential. If I'm going to do 4 niche sequential attempts, those are going into a folder. So when I'm ready to add in direct mail, I can, right? I'm doing cold calling now and I want to do SMS later. I'm keeping up with what records have I finished my cold calling attempts on so that when I'm ready to add in SMS, I can. So it's all about retaining that business intelligence and knowing what to do next. Make the best decisions. All right, that wraps up today. I'm going to try to post a homework post in the community, the Facebook community, if you can go on there and comment. What strategy fits you, niche or bulk, or do you like to use both or want to use both? And what issues, seeing that, do you need to address in your marketing strategies? And what do you feel you need to know to solve those issues? So we'll look out for that post in the community. All right. So this is where I'm going to go over the offer that's available as part of this challenge. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'd love for you to stick around and hear the offer that we put together as part of the 5-day audit if you have time to stick around. If not, I will see you tomorrow for day 3, which is sales and lead management. So feel free to stick around if you have the time. And if not, I will see you tomorrow. So we put together an offer. One thing that we often heard with REI Sift is, how much could I pay you to get it all set up exactly for me, to have it tailored for my strategies? And so when Tyler thought about that, originally he thought that would be like a $5,000 price tag. But we put it together in this offer, combined with some other things at a more affordable price. And so we decided to offer as part of this challenge sales and marketing system creation. So basically, we're going to set up your account, help you become an instant ninja. So we're going to call it the instant ninja bonus. And so we're going to gather, you're going to fill out a survey and have some calls with us to discuss exactly what you need set up in your account, like your marketing strategy and focus and how you want it set up. Then we create the account and configure it to your specific needs. And then you'll have a call with Bennett to go over and teach you how to use it successfully. And then you get continued onboarding through onboarding and premium support as long as you remain on business plan. Now you'll see in a second you get 3 months of the business plan for free with this offer. And so that gives you like that 90 days of onboarding to teach you how to use the account. And then as long as you remain on business plan, you can have those premium strategy meetings kind of monthly. So what we recommend after those first 90 days. If you already have an REI Sift account, we can look at it with you and make the adjustments, set up the things that you haven't been able to set up or you don't know quite what you want to do. You want to add in this new strategy. Can you help me, add in my SMS filter presets? I want to help setting up my SIF line. So we would do an account review and set up your account for you as well. So once that's all set up, you'll be able to constantly generate leads based on problems you can solve, document all of your offers and communication. So you'll have that activity log and communication log. You'll be able to be consistent and wake up every day and complete the tasks necessary to move forward. Now, I will say we'll set up task presets for you and sequences with this, but you still have to log in every day and complete those tasks. There are a lot of times where I'm on a call with somebody and they have their account all set up and they have all those sequences and tasks firing, but I've seen some accounts with a lot of overdue tasks. That just happens. Sometimes we fall behind, but you still have to wake up and have the drive to complete those tasks each day. So if you're able to do that, you'll stop wasting money on skip tracing. You won't be losing deals. Or if you do lose them, you'll know why because you'll have that activity log that shows, hey, that became a lead on March 5th and I didn't try to call them again till May 5th, right? You're not going to be guessing on what buyers. So now we have a phone book where you can keep up with your buyers and contractors and all those things. You'll have a flow for your marketing strategy. You'll have a process. So you'll stop doing these things where you don't have that insight, don't have the clarity, don't know what's happening, don't have those processes. So with that, you're also going to get, like I said, 3 months of the business plan for free. That's our highest tier of plan. And so that includes for $299 for 3 months. That's an $897 value, but it'd be free. You get unlimited records in your account, 25,000 records per month that you can upload at the value like that you have. You can purchase additional upload space if you need to. You can have up to 15 users. Each record can have up to 30 numbers. Your integrations will be inbound and outbound. So like call tools can send information back to Sift. And you can send out to call tools. You'll have a dedicated support ninja. You can have those onboarding and strategy meetings like we talked about, and unlimited customizations like sequences, filter presets, statuses, SIF line boards. If you're already a user, we'd either upgrade you to business for 3 months for free, or if you're already business, we'd extend your billing for 3 months. If you're annual, we extend the billing for 3 months. Premium onboarding. So that's $1,500. You get one-on-one support, regular calls to understand your unique needs. So once we set it up, we're going to have regular calls with you. help you address issues, change strategies, customize training, personalized support, tailored implementation. So these are one-on-one calls where we go over your account with you and make sure it's going the way you planned, help you adjust as necessary. You also get all of our training. So our Data to Dollars challenge, which now has unlimited access. And then you have the full library of courses and training, including deep prospect research course, KPI masterclass. Well, the deep prospect is a video. Then we have the KPI masterclass course, lead management course. We have deal analysis that comes with an offer calculator, and then whole estate, real estate business essentials course. So all of those things I mentioned are over a $10,000 value, but you would get access to them for $2,997. If you have the ability to claim it, I think it makes sense. And having that chance to have it kind of set up for you, and you can instantly, once it's set up, log in there and start completing your tasks and doing the daily things you need to do in the account. And then plus the one-on-one support to get, to manage that and teach you how to use it, help you adjust when things need to be adjusted. So here is the website if you'd like to claim it. It's reisif.io/instant ninja. Bookmark it because even if you can't claim it today because you've been in the challenge, you can claim it when you're able to as well. However, if you're able to claim it today, we do have some fast action bonuses for the first few people that are able to do it. One is migration service. So if you've been using something else for your CRM, we will help you get that data, upload it into Sift. You would download it from your CRM and we would help you upload it into Sift, help you clean it up. Well, if it needs to be cleaned up, we would advise you through that process and then we would upload it into Sift for you. You'd also get an SOP index. These first 6 have linked examples of SOPs. We'll talk more about SOPs on Thursday, but I give an example of what an SOP index could look like, and these first few have examples. I plan to add more examples in as time allows. And it would be a live document, so if I add anything, you would still have access. And then the last 2 things, which I think are maybe the most exciting, is a Sif Ninja t-shirt. You can see Tyler modeling it for us here. And then also our brand new sweatshirts. I wore one yesterday that say Real Estate Ninja on the back. And I didn't have a good picture of the back. So Christina Austin, who is like our people ops, and she's also Tyler's wife, she had gotten this picture of him getting a stop notice and sent it to me because she knew I was looking for a picture of the back. So you might get bad news at your duplexes, but you'll look cool wearing your ninja sweatshirt. Right. Again, there is the link if you're interested in claiming it. We look forward to working with you and getting your account set up and taking you through that process. All right, so tomorrow we're talking sales and lead management, Thursday operations, Fridays KPIs, and wrap up. We'll be live every day at 10 a.m. and I look forward to seeing you guys. Make sure you take advantage of that affiliate link in your account. I can show it real quick, just where to get it. Let me stop sharing here and share my REI SIF screen again. So if you're interested in earning that affiliate income, you would go over here to the affiliate link and you earn 20% commission. We have people who pay for their subscription using referrals. And so you get 20% recurring commission for as long as that person is, paying for their membership. And so you would use the link here to share it. You can choose either, our default page, our audit. This is a good one to share. So you would select that one because this is like free. So you don't earn commission when they join the audit because it's free. But if then the people that you recommend to the audit convert to users, you would begin to earn commission as they as long as they're using REI Sift. You can also share the Data to Dollars challenge link. You can share our blog. You can share Sift Summit. So this is also a good one. Those of you who don't know, we have Sift Summit coming up, which is our event that we're going to have live in August. And if you're a user and you refer, I don't want to misquote it, but I think it was if you sell 3 Sift Summit tickets, then or you get 3 people to sign up, then you can come. Don't quote me on that. I'll find out for sure. But through that referral process, if you refer enough people, you can come to SIF Summit for free. All right. So that's a little bit about our affiliate program. Definitely take advantage of that if you have time and if you want to earn some money. And that's where we're going to stop today. Except I will just show, in case you're not a user yet, if you sign up, remember you sign up with that code 5-day audit and you'll get $25 in credits for skip tracing or direct mail. All right, y'all, I will see you tomorrow. Um, Please reach out if you have any questions, comment on this video, and I will monitor it and answer any questions you might have. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.